GearNetwork.com.
This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome. This is episode number 90 of the Better Live Than Dead podcast. After some on and again, off again podcasting, we're on again. We're live. Better Live Than Dead. Ryan Wolf at WolfBLTD joining you live here in your ear holes, on your car radio, on your cell phone, on your Xbox, on your PlayStation, wherever it may be. We are here, and I am joined, as always, on the phone by Mr. Perez at MRLG Perez on Twitter, on Instagram, and I don't think on Facebook, but who cares? You probably can find him that way. Well, you can find him. He's all over the place. But anyways, say hi to the people.
Episode 90. Yo, man, I like that sound. That sounds awesome. Episode 90. I'm digging it. You're 10 away from a big 100.
The countdown begins.
Man, I feel like we should do something big for 100, bro.
I don't know what. Working on it because we have a very tight budget. We have a lot of good friends that'll help us out and assist us in the process of having a big 100. But I don't know. We've got some time because it's summertime. If you haven't noticed, it's almost summertime. We're about six or 7 days away from the summertime. It's the 15th of June right now as we're recording here. But I'm not sure if we're going to hit a podcast every week just because, I mean, we've got basketball wrapping up, as we'll talk about. Hockey's wrapped up. And as you all know, in podcast land, usually when the off-season rolls around, it's myself and Brayton Wilson at BJ Wilson WGR in a tweet box. We talk hockey, which actually we're going to do this weekend, so keep an eye out for that one. But so usually hockey off-season's handled. We'll talk a lot of baseball, which we're going to talk some baseball today. We pretty much got three or four or five major sports to discuss this week because we've had some time to let stuff kind of build up and stew a little. But we're gonna hit the next 10 episodes pretty hard, pretty fast. I've got some cool stuff coming up. I don't know what it is yet, but I know I've got some ideas in my brain cells. I know I want to try to get some video working. I know breaking news here. I haven't said this to anybody in the podcast land yet, but Better Live Than Dead will be represented at Warped Tour this year.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
I got an interview pass to go interview the bands, so we're going to try to see if we can get as many people as possible to say Better Live Than Dead on camera. And then go from there.
I like it.
My goal is to interview Joel and Benji Madden from Good Charlotte if I can.
That'd be pretty cool.
Just because it's like I'm a child all over again.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that.
You can't teach that. You can't teach that.
No. I can't.
Good. Just a quick tangent. Look it. I've been turned off by professional wrestling because it's dog poo. But one thing you can get me to tune in for is Enzo Amore. Hands down, every time.
Well, you know what? I like his character. I think he's funny. I watch the WWE every once in a while. Like I DVR it every week, and then I'll just kind of fast forward through to see if there's anything that interests me. But like I said, starting last year, Lucha Underground is ridiculously awesome. I love Lucha Underground. That's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on El Rey Network.
Checks in the mail, right?
You're welcome for the little plug. That's channel 145 if you have Time Warner.
All right, so we're not getting paid for this, so stop plugging it, please.
Check it out, bro.
I've seen a little of it. I do enjoy what I've seen so far. But anyways, let's jump headfirst into sports. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to start in the National Football League for one reason only. Von Miller. The big drama this offseason has been, what will Von Miller do? Because he's on a franchise tag right now, has not signed the franchise tag yet. wants a long-term deal. Now, we found out last week that Miller and the Broncos reportedly agreed to a 6-year, $114.5 million contract extension. But apparently, according to Yahoo's Charles Robinson, said that the deal fell apart because both sides weren't in the same ballpark on guarantees, which is understandable. A team does not want to guarantee a lot of money. If Von Miller blows out his knee and can never play another down, they don't want to have to pay him $75 million. And rightfully so for the other way, Von Miller wants to be paid a lot of money because if that happens, he wants to be set up for the rest of his life based off of his past merits. And at this point, through 72 career games, 60 sacks, one of the best pass rushers in the game, setting himself up to be one of the greatest pass rushers ever. He was the Super Bowl 50 MVP, completely took the game over. Now, Denver reportedly wanted the deal to be a 2-year, $39.8 million deal. So guarantee 2 years, $39.8 million, and they can cut the deal after that, which is probably what they would have done and either restructured or let him walk, unless he was a monster and had like 30 sacks in a season, which is ridiculous. But anyways, at that point, that's where Von Miller apparently disagreed and said no, thank you. Denver and naturally Denver reportedly was the one who leaked the information to the media to make Von Miller look bad. Now, before we get into what Von Miller said most recently, Lewis, do you blame Von Miller for being so set in his ways essentially when it comes to getting paid long term?
Not really. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think the money that these people make is a little ridiculous. But I understand his position. He has been one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant person in his position for the last several years. And you can make an argument that Denver won that Super Bowl because of him. So I get where he's coming from, but at the same point, I feel like these people need to take a step back and realize you can't always be paid the money that you want to be paid and expect to have quality role players around you. But people don't look like that. They want to be set up for life. And guaranteed money, like you said, if he blows his knee out, first play, first Sunday of the year, he's guaranteed that money. So I understand where he's coming from.
Now, I mean, I certainly don't blame the guy. I mean, at this point of his career, it's something that if he plays the first snap of next season and ruins his career, he's done. So he's got to get paid at some point in time, and I certainly think he's doing what is best for business. I mean, you got to do what's best. Let me just go over to what Von Miller said. Because now since he's been on Dancing with the Stars and he was the Super Bowl MVP, he's become a bigger celebrity. He was on Chelsea Handler's Netflix show and he said, quote, "I want to be a Bronco forever. I just want the feeling to be the same from the Broncos." So essentially, he wants to sign, but he feels like he's being lowballed, is what it sounds like. But he did go on to say he doesn't want to sit out the season because originally the report from Charles Robinson was sitting out the season was a possibility. And you can't blame the guy because if he sits out the season, he's an unrestricted free agent and somebody will pay him. That's the thing about Von Miller right now is essentially, he sits there and he says, I'm not playing a year under the franchise tag because if Von Miller gets hurt, that's it. That's it for him. He's done. So he wants to cash in while he can, which in such a violent sport like the National Football League, you have to. So you can't blame him there. But with that being said, I get why Denver is so kind of worried about guaranteeing a ton of cash because that's a lot of green, man. That's just there's a lot of money there guaranteed that if it blows up in your face, you can really set your franchise back. I mean, Von Miller has been lights out. He's been a guaranteed game changer since the moment he stood on the field for the first time. He's been there. He's been for real.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's just again, it's just something where, I get both sides of the coin, but pay the man seriously. Like pay the man the money he's deserved.
Well, I kind of feel like They're probably going to have to. Especially
Again, because if they don't, look at Lewis. You and I both know this. We've been sports fans for our whole life combined, 2 lives combined. We're sports fans. If Denver doesn't pay him, someone else will not hesitate to pay him.
No, absolutely not.
There will be no thought. It will just happen.
No, but I mean, look at that contract that was signed this week.
By, I believe it was Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, I mean, he got $63 million guaranteed, 6-year contract. You see that type of money being thrown around,
and they're trying to guarantee. They're trying to guarantee almost 40. That's it.
That's still a lot of cheddar.
I know, but he wants more, and he deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah. So I mean, now that Fletcher Cox signed a contract like that, you kind of have to, it kind of cuts the legs out for the Broncos. They kind of have to give the money to Vaughn.
But that's a risk you take, man.
Right.
Now let's move over to basketball real quick. The NBA Finals. I don't know what game we were on, so we'll just talk about the last.
We're going to the six.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like the last game that you and I discussed. I'm not too sure which game it was. But at this point, Golden State's up 3-2. Heading into Thursday night, tomorrow night, for those keeping records, tomorrow night. We were going to try to wait, but Cleveland just went off. I mean, at this point, Game 5 was quite possibly one of the greatest performances I've ever seen out of a duo of basketball players. Between LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, every time they touched the ball, they were almost automatic. I mean, looking at the statistics here, I mean, LeBron was 16 for 30, but Kyrie was 17 for 24 from the field.
Yeah.
3 points, 5 for 7. LeBron was 4 for 8. LeBron ended up with 41. Kyrie Irving ended up with 41. In 83 combined minutes, they scored 82 points. I mean, they took that game over. Then again, if Golden State, and I saw this on Twitter, and I apologize because whoever had said it was brilliant, but if Golden State had shot average from the 3-point line, they would have destroyed Cleveland that game.
Right.
Shots after shot after shot was just, shot after shot after shot was just bouncing off the rim and out, or just not hitting the mark. But if they had made league average, they would have won that game.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, they would have. And if they had Draymond Green, they would have won that game.
I think so too, for sure. I mean, Golden State shot 36% from the field, 33 from 3-point. If they had shot 50 from 3-point, they would have won that game. If they had shot 40% from it'll be interesting to see the dynamic that Draymond Green brings back to the team now that they've lost Andrew Bogut for the rest of the finals. But I still think this is Golden State's championship to lose because Cleveland has to beat arguably the greatest team ever 4 straight games to win the title.
Yeah, I mean,
so they have to play. So I mean, if LeBron and Kyrie come out and play like that for the next 3 games, they have to win 3 games. Sorry, I apologize. They have to win 3 straight because they've already won a game. So they have to win 3 straight games against the best team ever. If they come out and play the next 2 games like that, Golden State they got beat well. But I can't imagine Kyrie and LeBron putting up 80 combined points a game the next 2 games.
No, I mean, Kyrie came out and he was absolutely on fire. I kind of feel like as much complaining that LeBron James did, he had to come out and play like that. Because, let's be honest, if you watch that play where LeBron James steps over Draymond Green, and Draymond Green jumps up and goes to push him, he obviously hit him in the groin area as he was standing up. But looking at the play, I don't think it was intentional. I think he was just trying to shove him because LeBron stepped over him. And then, they got into it with each other. But the stuff that came out after that is really what bothers me. Is LeBron James one of the greatest players we've ever seen? I don't think you can say no. I mean, obviously he is. I mean, he's a physical freak with his height and his ball handling abilities and his ability to shoot the ball from just about anywhere. Yeah, he's top 10 for sure. Maybe top 5. Skill-wise, probably top 5. Is LeBron James one of the softest players we've ever seen? Yeah, he's extremely soft. Extremely soft. You know what? You wanna move on to another subject and talk some more basketball before I go on a tirade about LeBron James?
Yes, I appreciate the heads up. We can talk about hockey. We'll move on. We'll save it for when the finals are over. But at this point, excuse me, I want to talk about hockey. First off, the hockey world lost an absolute legend this week. I wanted to take a second to express our condolences, BLTD, Gear Network's condolences. Gordie Howe passed away at age 88. The only hockey player to play in 5 different decades. He had 801 goals over his 26-year career. The saying, and I'm going to screw this up, but the saying usually goes, it's, you can see how someone lived their life by how people respond when they pass, essentially. And
right.
the outpouring of condolences and stories and just everything related to Gordie Howe once he passed away tells you how much of an impact this one man had on millions of people's lives. And you only usually get to hear the stories of the famous people or the people who were around the Detroit Red Wings or around hockey or around the Howe family. So imagine, the people who weren't like that still have stories of how Gordie Howe affected their lives. So a big rest in power goes out to Gordie Howe, 88 years old. One of the greats, seriously, one of the greatest to ever play the game of hockey.
Yeah, absolutely.
It won't be the same without him.
I agree.
Now,
I agree. He was incredible. He was an incredible player. I mean, to play the way he did and to play in multiple decades is just unheard of.
Nothing more can be said. He's one of the greats. They don't call him Mr. Hockey for no reason,
That's true.
So last Thursday, San Jose, I should say Martin Jones, beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. 44 saves. San Jose wins Game 5 4-2. Pushes the Stanley Cup Final to a Game 6 in San Jose, which took place last Sunday. And by this point, everybody knows what happened. Pittsburgh took Game 6.
Cup winners.
Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. When the postseason started, first off, Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup in 6. Sidney Crosby is your Conn Smythe winner. And I think that because Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup, I should say, we will never see Marc-Andre Fleury in net for the Pittsburgh Penguins again. That's something we can talk about at a later date. That's just a kind of a bold prediction from me. But I don't think you can go back to Fleury after Matt Murray wins a championship as a rookie. A highly touted prospect, but again, I'll get off that real quick. No doubt about it, the Pittsburgh Penguins were one of the best, if not the best teams this postseason. I know when the postseason started, I said to multiple people, Pittsburgh is the team to beat. Like essentially when the Eastern Conference Final happened between Washington and Pittsburgh, at that point I said whoever wins this is winning the championship, winning the Stanley Cup, because this year it just seems like the Eastern Conference wasn't leaps and bounds better than the Western Conference because the Western Conference is always stronger of a conference, at least lately. With the style of hockey, the West compared to the East, the Western Conference is by far a stronger conference. But Pittsburgh just had something going. They had all their ducks were in a row. Everything was working out for them. They had fantastic goaltending. They had timely scoring. I mean, everything you want in April or in May and June they had. And they also had fired their coach midseason, which last time they fired a coach midseason, they hired Dan Bilesma, won the Stanley Cup, and they did it again, and they win the Cup. So naturally, every time Pittsburgh fires a coach midseason, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. But for being out of the playoffs in December and winning the Stanley Cup in June, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's just another feather in the cap of Sidney Crosby. He's already a Hall of Famer. I mean, they'll probably have to blow it up sometime soon because of the cap situation they have going on, but they won the Stanley Cup, so they don't have to worry about it,
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They were involved in some really good series in the postseason. The series that they had with Tampa Bay, they went 7. That was a great series. And then even the Stanley Cup Finals was an incredible series. And let's be honest, Jones for San Jose, he was an absolute stud. He was an incredible goaltender. He made me nervous, I mean, obviously in Game 5, he had 44 saves, and the Penguins outshot San Jose, almost 3-1 that game. So
yeah, he absolutely stole that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and let's be honest, even in Game 6, he made some incredible saves. That score could have easily been like 10-5. But Jones made some incredible saves. Murray made some incredible saves. It was a fun to watch series. That's the type of hockey I like seeing.
I mean, the finals themselves were very entertaining. I mean, hockey, you could turn on a game of junior hockey and I'm entertained. But I was, the finals weren't as exciting as I had hoped. But when I watched, man, dude, I was hooked. And for me personally, for the website, I'm very excited that hockey's over. Just because, I mean, for instance, today we had a gigantic trade, a very huge trade, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But we're back to square one. We're back to we're everybody's 0-0. I mean, Pittsburgh's got the Stanley Cup, fantastic. Care less about Pittsburgh, being a Sabres fan. But seeing Phil Kessel win the Stanley Cup just a year, the season after being traded away from Toronto, where he was, a locker room cancer, and he was the reason why Toronto was so bad, it's absolutely amazing. Like, Phil Kessel, I hope he eats hot dogs out of the Stanley Cup at this point because, just a gigantic middle finger to that entire city. I mean, he won't do it, but they deserve it. They deserve that gigantic middle finger from Phil Kessel because he's an okay hockey player. I mean, no doubt about it. But putting him on a team,
as a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, and I always have been, I was really glad to see them win the Stanley Cup.
Putting him on a team with Crosby and Malkin was the best you could have done because you take the complete pressure off of him. He becomes a depth player, and a very damn good depth player at that. But I'm excited to see what the Buffalo Sabres do. I know, like myself and Brayton, like I said, we're going to talk some hockey this weekend. Got some good stuff coming up. We've got coverage for the draft coming up. We almost got credentialed, but I'm apparently too late at that, so I suck. My apologies, everybody, but I'll still cover the draft from my apartment. We're going to have some good podcasting coming up. Then after a couple weeks after, we've got free agency opening up on July 1st. So it's a lot of good hockey coming up. And before you know it, it'll be next season. But I do want to mention the big trade that happened today. Finally, the Chicago Blackhawks find somebody to take on the contract of Brian Bickle. Now, it's only 1 year, $4.5 million left on that deal, but it cost Chicago young talent Teuvo Teravainen, and Brian Bickle and Teuvo Teravainen go to Carolina, the Hurricanes. Teravainen's 21 years old. He had 35 points in 78 games last season. 78 games, I should say. 13 goals, 22 assists, 35 points in total. Playing with lesser talent. Like, he's going to get a top 6 role, and he's going to blow up. I mean, Teravainen is a very, very, very talented hockey player. But because of the way Chicago has worked things out, I mean, it has worked for Chicago in the past because they've won 3 Stanley Cups. You know, they're a modern-day dynasty at this point. But
Right.
at some point in time, it's going to blow up in their face. I mean, they get back a 2016 second and a 2017 third in this deal. Essentially, they gave away Teuvo Teravainen for removing Brian Bickle's cap hit. But
Right.
it's you know, this is something I'm going to talk to Brayton about on Saturday. But, I mean, we all of us discussed this at the deadline last February, where if it takes bringing Brian Bickle to get Teuvo Teravainen, do it. So I'd be interested to see what Brayton has to say about this and to see, you know, was Carolina the only team that was in on this? Because, I mean, they paid if they paid more than what the asking price was, congratulations, Chicago. But giving up Teuvo Teravainen, much like giving up Brandon Saad, I mean, granted, they were in different stages of their careers. In a league where goal scoring is down, having a 21-year-old score 13 goals and you trade him away for a draft pick, you're doing something wrong, I think. And
Yeah, a little bit.
It'll probably come back to bite them in the ass, but then again, as they're getting bit on the ass, they'll probably pull a rabbit out of their ass. So, you know, that's just what the Blackhawks do.
That's true.
Before we move up, before we move away from hockey, I want to throw a cheap plug out there. As I sit here and record BLTD 90, I am drinking beers out of a plastic Stanley Cup. Now, where can you get that plastic Stanley Cup? I will gladly tell you. Amazon.com. Look up The Stanley Stein, S-T-E-I-N. You can follow him on Twitter at The Stanley Stein. Same spelling. $27. I get a plastic Stanley Cup that holds 2 beers. And you can actually drink out of the Stanley Cup like you're a professional hockey player, which is pretty cool. I'm enjoying it so far. And I also am able to find the most random stuff on the internet and spend my hard-earned cash on it.
That's what the internet's for.
Well,
that is what
that
the internet
porn.
is for.
That and porn.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like if the internet had 2 websites, Amazon and porn, the internet would be fine. You're laughing because you know it's true.
Yeah, hey, I'm not denying it.
I need at this point. Moving over to Major League Baseball now. Last week we were gonna talk about the Chicago Cubs because they were on a blistering pace. I mean, at this point, they're the fastest team to reach 40 wins. They won 40 games out of 56 since 2001 when Seattle won 40 and 52. They've kind of cooled down at this point. They're down to only a. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. They are down to a .688 win percentage, 5-5 in their last 10, but they're 44-20. They lead all of the National League by 3 games for the best record. They are the best team in baseball at this point. Is there anything really we should be worrying about with the Chicago Cubs at this point, or are they hands down the team to beat right now in baseball?
You know, I feel like they probably are the team to beat right now in baseball, but at the same time, you have to worry about starting off at such a blistering pace because at one point you're going to slow down, and you kind of see it right now. They've been 5-5 in the last 10, but you don't want to see a slow down to the point where they start to lose, you know, multiple games. So my only worry is that they're going to hit a wall. And, you know, obviously they've been relatively injury-free, so hopefully that will continue. Because if not, then you can see them possibly start losing more games.
I mean, I look at. Sorry, Lewis. I look at like Jason Hayward, for instance. Now, in the month of June, in 14 games, he's batting 278. But in May, he batted 217. In April, he batted 224. Right. And they spent a lot of money on Jason Hayward. And you look at a guy like Addison Russell. I'm just taking a look at his stats right now. And, I mean, on the season, he's batting 237. Last year, he batted 242. But, I mean, in April, he batted 214. This May, he's batting 268. June, 200. So you look at that and you wonder, is the pitching staff, like, I look at that and I wonder, okay, so the bats aren't going to come around. Whatever. So is the pitching staff going to stay super hot? Because, I'm gonna pop up their pitching staff right now if I can get my phone to cooperate here. And okay. I know the Cubs pitching staff has been absolutely superb. I mean, Jake Arrieta has 10 wins. John Lester, 8 wins. Jason Hamill, 7 wins. John Lackey, 7 wins. Perfect, okay? Arrieta has a 1.86 ERA. He's leaps and bounds above everybody else. He's going to be fantastic. Signed, sealed, delivered. Jake Arrieta is going to be amazing. John Lester, 1.89 ERA. I mean, that's hands down. If his season ends today, I mean, obviously it's not going to. So I feel like I'm moron for saying that. But look at John Lester has never finished below a 2.35 ERA. And the 2.35 ERA was in a season where he pitched 11 games for Oakland. So 11 games for Oakland, he had a 2.35 ERA. So in 2014, he had a 2.46 ERA in 32 starts. That's the lowest one he's ever had. Before that, it was like a 3. So maybe he figured out the National League. I mean, because last year he had a 11-12 record with a 3.34. This year he's 8-3 with a 1.89 in 13 games. So, I mean, he's a fantastic pitcher. Don't get me wrong, but at some point in time, you have to expect the Cubs pitching staff. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is at some point in time, you have to expect the Cubs pitching staff to come back to earth, which is understandable. But when that pitching staff comes back to earth, will those bats heat up or will those bats stay cold?
Right. Well, you kind of have to hope that they heat up. There's still, let's be honest, there's still a lot of games left.
It is only June.
Right. There's still over 100 games left. Over 120, I think, left. So it'll be interesting to see if they can parlay this into continuing to stay hot, or if they do get a little cold and then heat back up. You never know. I mean, it is an off year, so I still expect the Giants to possibly win it. just kidding. But it'll be interesting to see.
Dude, we have a conspiracy theory. We have a conspiracy theory to talk about, but we're going to move on real quick before we get to that.
Okay.
Did you see Manny Machado punch Yordano Ventura in the face?
No, I missed that.
Oh, man. Look it up. We'll talk about it next week. But I want to talk about Ichiro Suzuki now. We've talked about Ichiro ad nauseum in the past. Tonight, on the 15th of June, he recorded his 4,257th combined career hit, which pushed him past Pete Rose technically. Pete Rose is super butthurt about it. Like he is a piss baby. That's essentially what he's doing. He's just complaining about how Ichiro played in Japan and blah, 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 blah. But you and I both know, Lewis, if Ichiro Suzuki played his entire career in America, he would have destroyed Pete Rose. Ichiro is one of the greatest hitters we will ever see. He's in his 40s. He's in his 40s. Like let me actually hold on. I'm gonna take a timeout here real quick.
Are you talking about when you talking about Manny Machado? You talking about the punch the guy slid into second base?
No, I'm talking about he got hit in the hip and punched the dude in the face. He hobbled out to the mound and punched the pitcher in the face.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That was pretty awesome.
It was fantastic. I'm
Yes,
popping
it
up
was.
baseballreference.com right now. Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro right now is feasting off the fact that Giancarlo Stanton is in a slump of a lifetime. He's batting 194. It's June. He's batting 194. 12 home runs, but 194 nonetheless. So Ichiro Suzuki right now has a 347 batting average in 54 games. 121 at-bats, official at-bats. He has 42 hits. At this point in time, he sits at 2,977. Actually, no, I apologize. That's not updated yet. Ichiro is 21 hits away from 3,000. Let's just put it that way. 55 games into the season for him, he's 27 hits away. 21 hits away. I'm sorry. Why did I say 27? 21 hits away from 3,000. No doubt about it, Ichiro hits 3,000 this season. But
absolutely.
I'm going to ask you this here. Ichiro hitting 4.257 combined, again, because it's Japan and America, but he came to America at age 27. He had 10 consecutive 200-hit seasons. From age 27 to age 36, he had 200-hit seasons. If Ichiro had done that in his early 20s, from 20 to 36, he would have destroyed Pete Rose's record, no doubt about it. So is this a big deal, or do you think it's just another, feather in the cap, whatever, who cares?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I think it's a big deal. I mean, Pete Rose can be butthurt, whatever, but for the last, while now, we've been able to see one of the best pure hitters we've ever seen. And you're absolutely correct. If Ichiro had played his entire career in the States, Pete Rose's record would be a distant second by the time Ichiro's all said and done. So I think it's awesome. I think it's a big deal. I think it's really cool.
I mean, I'm on board with it, because again, I think Pete Rose is.
Because you can't, they're making the argument he played in Japan. So almost like they're making the argument that it's like a lesser league, and so he didn't face the talent that he did here. But if you look at what he's done here, it's ridiculously impressive. So I think an argument like that is invalid because he's proven that he can hit no matter where he's at, and he's done it at an extremely high level. So, those arguments are stupid to me. Give the man his due. He's an incredible ball player, one of the best hitters we'll ever see. He's going to he's broken records. He's going to break more records. He's going to cross 3,000, which is incredible. But let him be. Let him celebrate that. It's awesome.
He's going to play. Yeah, he's going to play 17 years in baseball, from 27 to 42, and hit 3,000.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even going to say anything because he's a Hall of Famer at this point. But I mean, no doubt about it. First ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, he averages at this point of his career, age 42, he averages 200 hits a season.
Yeah, I mean, his batting average at the age of 42 is ridiculous.
He's batting .314 career. But like I said, he's Don Mattingly's using him well and taking good care of him. But
absolutely,
episode 90 is over. But I saw something on the internet. There's been a rumor going around for a long time, Lewis, that O.J. Simpson is Khloe Kardashian's father. And apparently, there was a conversation on a documentary where OJ's prison guard claims he thinks O.J. Simpson's the father of Khloe Kardashian, where he says Khloe's his favorite. Kardashian's mom does not talk to OJ. She's upset with her OJ because she thought OJ killed her best friend. But she knows that Khloe still talks to OJ behind her back. It says here, apparently one day Khloe called OJ saying, I want you to take a paternity test. Paternity test, he said no. A few minutes later, this is an exact quote, a few minutes later after that phone call, he pulled me up and asked me what I would do, and I told the Juice to take it, and he said no. I said, why? Why won't you take that? He said, it's a family matter. It's none of the public's business. I mean, I think that's been one of my favorite conspiracy theories. I totally think that OJ is Khloe Kardashian's dad. That's just my opinion.
I got to be honest with you. I don't, like, I know about the Kardashians, obviously. I know the stuff that they do, whatever. Everyone knows about the Kardashians. I thought Khloe, like 3 years ago, took a paternity test, and it was determined that the Kardashian guy was her dad.
I don't think there was... I mean, she looks like OJ. She does. There's no doubt about it.
The Kardashians.
Yeah, but she's got that. She's got the. Have you ever seen the photo of her and OJ next to each other?
No.
Hold on. Let me find a photo. See if I can find a good one. I'm just looking. I'm looking. This is a good one, I think. Yeah, I'm going to send this to you right now while we podcast. You can get text, right? Or you can get photos and shit on your phone?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll do that right now. This is how a podcast unravels here. Where I look on Twitter as we're podcasting and I see Khloe Kardashian is begging O.J. Simpson to take a paternity test.
I honestly thought she had already did this.
I mean, look at. Like, Khloe Kardashian, O.J. Simpson is up there with Stevie Wonder being blind. Like, no doubt about it, okay? Like, anybody who doubts me, dude, come on. Stevie Wonder's not blind.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Stevie Wonder's not blind. Talk to John, he'll tell you.
all right, let me take a look at this photo.
You get the photo? Did you get the photo?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I gotta be honest with you that you know what? This photo is so photoshopped.
It's so
the
what?
Mouth on photoshopped. The mouth on Khloe Kardashian, like, that's not her mouth or her cheeks.
How do you know? You're looking at her mouth, you weirdo.
Well, I've seen pictures of her. I mean, yeah, this picture looks shocked, bro.
Whatever.
I'm gonna send you a photo of Khloe Kardashian right now.
I know what she looks like. Just looks a lot different because she's gotten a lot of plastic surgery. That was not the best one.
I think she's one of the few that hasn't. She did get involved in a huge weight loss program recently, and I know she's been working out like crazy.
Where she was like drinking Windex or something.
Here's what I know about the Kardashians. I know that Khloe now is super fine. I know that
Super
Courtney
fine. Did you say fine?
fine. I know that Courtney, for having 3 kids, is really hot.
Okay.
And I know that Kim is a whore. That's what I know about the Kardashians. Don't get me wrong, I think Kim's hot too. She's got a great body.
Speaking of Kim, Kanye's coming to Buffalo.
Which
We should do a Better Live Than Dead night at Kanye West.
which you got to be excited about.
Dude, I'm jacked up about it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a ticket, but it's on a Saturday night, too. So I don't even have to take off of work. But if I can get a ticket, I'm going to be there.
And I know you're a huge Kanye head.
I'm a big believer of the Yeezus.
Yeah, I'm not. As you
Oh, I
well
know. You made your feelings known very well. I just spit over my microphone like a savage.
Yeah, he's the most overrated hip-hop artist of all times.
You're the most overrated podcast host of all time.
You know what? I'll give him this. He does have some really good beats.
That's his MO, dude. That's how he got famous, was his beats.
Yeah, he's got some really good beats.
Like if you want to listen to if you want some good stuff, like do you listen to Chance the Rapper?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was about to fire you. I was gonna fire you from the podcast if you don't listen to Chance the Rapper. Look at Chance the Rapper. I'm gonna go BLTD music on you because, like I said, we got the Warped Tour gig coming up, so we got to do some music stuff. We got to start bringing some more music stuff to your ears. But look at Chance the Rapper's new album, new EP, new mixtape, whatever you want to call it. It's very religious, but if you don't feel anything from that album, you're not human.
Okay.
Like not only are his beats fantastic, but his flow is just undeniably fantastic, and you can't teach that.
Yeah, no, I like Chance. Have you heard Afro?
No.
Dude.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor,
Yeah.
Lewis.
Okay.
Go on my Facebook. You want to see a nice freestyle? Go on my Facebook page. Watch Lil Dicky do a freestyle over in England.
Oh, I saw it. It was pretty sick.
That guy is fantastic.
Yeah, Lil Dicky's awesome. But
I want to go. I want to catch him next time he rolls around.
all right, so when I go inside later on, I'll put a video of Afro up on my wall, so you can check
You
it
just
out.
tag me. Just tag me. Just throw it up on my wall. Who cares?
Okay, dude, this kid is 18 years old, and his flow is utterly ridiculous. I listened to him do a live set the other day, and he raps for like 10 minutes, and they switched the beat up on him multiple times, and he freestyled the entire time, and he was just disgusting. There's a cool video. I'll tell you in the video. There's a cool video. They did a straight to vinyl recording where it was a live band, a DJ, and him flowing, and they literally recorded it straight to vinyl. So they had to do it in one shot. And it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'll tag you.
I look forward to it.
Me too.
But that's I mean, this is the podcast. This is what we like to talk about. And I mean, at this point, we've got a lot. Like, again, this is kind of a microcosm of what we've got going on. We've got sports, we've got entertainment, we've got music, we got a lot of stuff going on, and this is what we like to talk about. This is what you come here for. This is the price of admission.
And I'm letting y'all know that when the finals are done, I'm going to have a little rant on LeBron James.
There's going to be a specific podcast episode, and you'll just talk about LeBron James.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, hey, Before we go too far, we're at about an hour here, so I want to kind of wrap things up real quick. Things have gone well. I mean, we could add more to talk about, but whatever, you know. I want to say real fast, thanks everyone for sticking around. I know we've been kind of spotty the past couple weeks. We appreciate you. We appreciate you sticking around, listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast. We'll have more up bltdsports.com here soon regarding the NHL draft. I'm taking the day off tomorrow on Thursday to go to a concert in Buffalo. Hopefully get some hockey work done as well. This podcast, I'm going to go see Frank Turner live at Canalside.
No, that's beast. I like Frank Turner.
Dude, he's fantastic. Like, look at real talk right now. I was going through some shit, like depression and just anxiety, just horrible, horrible feelings I would never wish on my worst enemy. No joke. And then my buddy TJ, good friend of the podcast, great friend of the podcast. I guess you could say he's the best friend of the podcast. He's been on one of the few that's been on a BLTD CarCast. And he said one day, just listen to this guy. Just his music will connect with you and it'll make you feel better. And I'll be damned if it didn't, man. Like I've just Frank Turner, I just feel like I understand him and I just get it, you know? So
right.
Go see him for free. Go get some tacos from Lloyd Taco. I'm going to go buy a hat from New Era. I'm going to get the whole Buffalo experience in a 3-hour period. But yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up. I mean, we've got one of our own. My sister Caitlin got through Fortune Photography, got credentialed for Brian Fallon on the 25th. So we'll hopefully have a concert review there. Some photos from that show. Like I said, the draft is coming up. You can follow me at WolfBLTD. Follow Lewis at MRLG Perez. Hopefully sometime soon we can get together for a podcast and have an in real life podcast. But we're meeting up soon. Hopefully we'll get that taken care of. Lots of good stuff coming up. As usual, as always, doesn't matter if it's the first or the last episode. We are Better Live Than Dead.
You're not.
Don't get it twisted, my friends, because we'll f*** you up. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ryan Wolf for Mr. Perez. Have a fantastic evening, afternoon, day, whatever it may be. Talk to you soon.
Right.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.